Good morning. My name's Jim Huffman. I'm the owner and CEO of Wasatch Crest Treatment Services. We're located up in Heber City, Utah, the beautiful Heber Valley, up in the mountains, fairly close to Salt Lake City. We're about 40 minutes from Salt Lake City or Utah County. And just to give you a little background about what we do, here we're an adult residential treatment center. For adult men and women, we provide treatment for substance abuse, alcohol, and underlying mental health conditions that may be, in many cases, driving that self-medication in those particular areas. I'm very proud of the work that we do here. We have an incredible staff. One of the things our clients mention most about their experience here. And I wanted today to just get a chance to say good morning, to say welcome to Heber, even though you're not here physically through the Facebook Live, and get a chance to tell you a little bit about my personal recovery story. So I am in recovery. I've been in recovery for about 13 and a half years. And my journey into recovery started with my journey to treatment. I was a person that didn't need treatment. I was going to do it on my own. And I was very willing to tell anybody who would listen to me how disciplined I was, how in all of my plans. In fact, my first... when I knew that I needed to get sober and I knew that I had a problem, my first line of attack was to get on Google, and I think it was Amazon at the time, and order 7 books on basically Sober 101 for somebody that was trying to get sober or recovery or whatever that was. And I was going to read those books, I was going to study it, and I was going to apply those principles that I would learn in there and take copious notes and apply that plan to my life, and I could fix this. And that was very much the approach that had made me successful in many areas of my life, in school, in graduate school, in business, in athletics. I was a somewhat world-class ultra runner at the time. I ran long distance 100-mile mountain trail races, and I would tell again anybody who would listen about how I was going to apply all of those same self-will, discipline, hard work, all of those things that proved successful in those other areas, that I would apply those same principles to recovery, and I would beat this thing on my own. And as it turns out, I tried that early on, as I said, ordering those books, doing some studying, and all those things, and I was not successful. It didn't work for me, and it was difficult for me to understand at the time, but I can see it now in hindsight. I wasn't the solution, I was the problem. And so for me, my journey started in treatment. I became willing, mostly because I was really desperate. At the time, I was in a really bad place. I couldn't stop doing what I was doing, and I was a husband. I was a father of 7 children, and I was not doing a good job of at any of those things at the time. And so I asked for help, and that was the beginning for me. Being willing to ask for help, being willing to accept help, and really being willing to sort of set my views and opinions aside and take direction. I went to treatment. I went to a residential treatment center in Arizona. I spent about 30 days there, and again, upon arrival, I announced to everyone that I had one of my children was going to have a birthday a couple weeks in, and I would be leaving soon. I was just needed 10 days, 12 days, 14 days, and I'd be good, and I could take it from here. And so that journey of kind of turning things over was long for me and gradual, and through just a lot of fortunate circumstances and people that I was in treatment with, who I built really strong connections with early on, convinced me to stay longer, to give it time, and I did, and I finished that treatment experience. And again, at the end of that, I let everybody know that that would be it for me, and I'd be good from here. And thank you very much. I'll take it from here. And they convinced me that more was needed, and more would be beneficial to me. And so I did that, and I took their direction, I took their advice, and I went to an aftercare program in Newport Beach, California. And during that next phase of my journey, I got connected to a 12-step program, to the program of Alcoholics Anonymous, and I've been an active member of that program sort of ever since. And the journey for me turned out to be very simple. I can be good at complicating things, but it turned out to be pretty simple. And I asked someone there for help. I asked them for direction. They told me what to do, and I did it. And my life, gradually, and by gradually, I guess in hindsight, over 13 and a half years, it was quickly. At the time, it seemed very gradual. It didn't happen as quickly as I wanted it to. But over the coming months and that first year, my life got better. And so I suddenly found myself in a place where I had something to lose, and I had made enough progress that I had a life that was worth protecting at that point. And so I thought I would share a little bit about some of the things that helped me in early sobriety. I've mentioned staying connected to a program of recovery. For me, that was Alcoholics Anonymous, and has been. I think for each individual person it's different, and I'm certainly in no place to judge. I can only speak to what worked for me, and I'm as a personal view very supportive of whatever works for you or for anybody else. Some people go back to church and are actively engaged in a church program, and that works for them. Some people go to Alcoholics Anonymous. Some people find yoga and meditation and other things that work for them. And I just want to say that I am a 100% champion of any solution that works for someone to remain in long-term recovery. And so for me, again, that was a 12-step program. It was staying connected to people who were in recovery. It was changing my circle of friends and circumstances and environments to keep me in a safe place and with safe people and people who were swimming in the same direction that I was. Those were things that were really important to me. Holding myself accountable, and not just sort of being held accountable by others, but finding ways to hold myself accountable. I heard somebody share in a group discussion early on about them voluntarily drug testing. Or no, it wasn't voluntarily, it was actually involuntarily. I think they were on a probation program. And they said, hey, that I didn't want to go randomly test every, week or two or however often they called. But he's like, it made a big difference for me, and it helped me stay sober for that first year. And after staying sober for that first year, I had enough of a foundation to move forward. And I heard that, and I was like, I'm not on probation. I don't need to do that. But I was like, if that helped him, maybe that can help me. And I voluntarily went to I think by this time, finished my outpatient treatment. And I went back to that program. I went to the office and I said, I want to sign up to come in here and test every week. And they said, really? And I said, yeah. I want to hold myself accountable for that, and I want to have a record that I can be proud of my sobriety. And they said, well, you're going to have to pay for it. Are you willing to do that? And I said, absolutely. And I willingly scheduled a day every week. I went in for, I think, my first year of sobriety, and took those tests. And that for me, I guess, I'm sort of dancing around an area that was an important other aspect early on, which was to set a goal. It is definitely a one day at a time program for sure, and recovery is a one day at a time thing. Sometimes minute by minute, hour by hour, but it's for me at least, my personal experience, in some of these other areas of my life, whether it was running or business or school or things like that, I was always, setting goals was always important to me. And so I set a goal early on. I said, I want to get a year of sobriety. I didn't imagine that I was going to be sober 13 years later, or, I wasn't really in that place. That seemed very distant to me, to be honest. But I said, I'm going to do everything in my power to get a year of sobriety. And as I alluded to earlier, like having that sort of shorter term objective for me really helped me to, stay focused on that, show up every day, even when I didn't want to sometimes, and continue to do this thing. And it just made a huge difference for me. And as I said earlier, by the time I got to a year of sobriety, my life had improved so much that I didn't want to lose that. And so it gave me the motivation to continue to do that just each day, day after day, for roughly 13 and a half years. And so, I want to touch on, a couple things, I guess, sort of in closing. Number one, it hasn't been easy, for sure. There have been really difficult days along the way. When I first started this, I thought, I just need to stop drinking, and that's all I need to do, and everything else is going to be fine. I didn't really realize or understand at the time what a life-changing experience that this was going to be for me. And so, and it has been in so many ways. And so, throughout that journey, I have had lots of joys and lots of beautiful things in my life, and I'll talk about those. But I've also had a lot of tragedies. My first marriage of 21 years, the marriage did not survive, and sadly, my first wife passed away a few years later from this same disease. And so it's walking through deaths of close family members, of friends. I've lost people who I got sober with, who are not with us anymore. And, I've been through a, very difficult divorce, and, trying to rebuild my relationships with my family and with my children. And, all of those things at times have been very joyful. And at times they've also been really difficult. And through those challenges and those difficulties, I've always leaned on, my relationships in recovery. Those relationships that I've built with, I was told early on, the men stick with the men and the women stick with the women. That it was really important that I build strong relationships with other men in recovery, and that it was really important for women in early recovery to build strong relationships with women in early recovery. That those would be the bonds that would stand the test of time, and that has been very, very true for me. Those relationships are still very much intact today, and really, really important to me today. And so through, all of those years and the ups and the downs and everything, where is my life today, and what can I share with you that might be inspiring if you're someone who's newly sober, if you're not sober and you're thinking about maybe getting sober. if you're a family member of someone who is struggling right now, and what can I share with you that might give some hope, that there are brighter days ahead. And for me today, I'm happily married. My wife and I have been married for 5 years. Between us, we have 8 children. We're the modern day Brady Bunch. We have 4 boys and 4 girls, and 3 little grandbabies, 3 little granddaughters who are fantastic. And by the way, grandkids are like the best thing going. They're sort of all of the fun and none of the responsibility, which is really awesome. But we're just really blessed. I get to show up every day. I get to do something today that I absolutely love doing, that is super rewarding. And, I get to see people's lives change, and we just get to be a passenger in the car for that. And we get to ride along on that journey with each person who comes here to Wasatch Crest, and to help them latch on to that. We don't do it for anybody. We don't, do it on their behalf, but we ride along, and we support and we encourage and we love, until they can begin to love themselves. And I just feel really, really blessed today to be a good son, to be a good brother, to be a good husband, a faithful and a loyal and an honest husband, and to be a good dad. My kids absolutely mean the world to me. And I will tell you that they meant just as much to me when I was in that dark place. I loved them just as much. I cared for them just as much, but I could not get out of my own way to be the dad that they deserved at that time. And so, recovery has given me the opportunity to be that man. And today I feel super, super blessed. Sorry, I get a little emotional when I talk about that, because it has been it's definitely been a journey. I've had family members who have struggled, and I've got to sit on the other side of that. I've gotten to support them in their recovery, and to know what it's like to sit in a family member's place, and to feel, helpless and not able to affect that person's life, and to worry about them. I know what it's like to be in the shoes of a person who is struggling. And I just feel really, really blessed to be in this place today with an incredible family, the thing that matters most to me in my life, to have a host of real friends, not friends who are along for a free dinner, or I'm trying to get a free dinner out of them, or just real, true friendships that don't revolve around money or prestige or anything of that nature, but just real, grit, honest, true friendships where you show up for each other and you help each other in those moments of need. And sometimes they're helping me, and sometimes I'm in a place where I get to be of service to them. And to get to be involved in this work, I say work, I don't really feel like we work a day in our lives if we're doing something that we really, really love to do. And so I feel grateful to get to share this today. I hope that I've said something that has struck a chord with those of you who will have the chance to get to see this. And maybe there's something, in there, some threads that you'll find that will be helpful, and you'll be able to latch onto that may help you. That's our goal here at Wasatch Crest. And if you want to learn more about our treatment services here, you can visit our website at wasatchcresttreatment.com. You can also find our 1-800 number, 1-800 number there on the website, which we have a 24/7 admissions line. You can call that line at any time, and we have staff here who are open to supporting and answering questions and helping you walk through anything that you're in need of. So again, thank you for your time today. Happy Thursday. I hope you have an amazing day, and That's it. Bye-bye.